In 1957, while McDonald's was rapidly opening more stores, a struggling Florida startup named Insta-Burger was on the brink of bankruptcy. Little did anyone know that this failed business would evolve into Burger King, a global fast food empire operating in over 100 countries and generating billions of dollars annually. But today, Burger King faces an uphill battle. The company is grappling with declining food traffic, disappointing sales, and a wave of franchise bankruptcies. In today's video, I'm about to serve up some juicy details behind this iconic fast food, the reason for their rise, and what led to their devastating fall, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. In the early 1950s, the fast food landscape was forever changed when Keith Kramer and his stepfather Matthew Burns opened a small drive-in restaurant called Insta-Burger in Jacksonville, Florida. Inspired by the success of McDonald's, the duo sought to bring the same concept of fast food to their community. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for the fledgling restaurant. They successfully copied the McDonald's idea but faced significant challenges. Central to Burger King's original concept was the Insta-Broiler, a high-speed cooking device designed to expedite burger preparation. However, the purchase of these ovens for mass burger production proved to be a setback for Burger King. These Insta-Broilers were flawed, causing inconsistent cooking times and the tendency to dry out the meat produced subpar quality, causing frustrations, delays, and ultimately a less than optimal dining experience. In 1954, Keith and Matthew met David Edgerton, a young entrepreneur with a vision for the future of fast food. He stumbled upon the unfinished Insta-Burger restaurant, thinking it was a Dairy Queen. Recognizing the potential in the struggling Insta-Burger, Edgerton left his Dairy Queen agreement and partnered with Kramer and Burns to open an Insta-Burger store in Miami. Before the first restaurant opened, David proposed renaming it to Insta-Burger King. The founders agreed, and the iconic logo featuring a monarch on a burger and milkshake was born. Unfortunately, their complex service system confused customers, leading to financial losses for potential franchisees. In the early days of Insta-Burger King, the ordering process was confusing, requiring customers to pay up front at one window and collect their items for another, which often leads to repeated orders, leaving angry customers. However, amidst the setbacks, a turning point emerged when James McLemore entered the scene. Having worked in the restaurant industry, he saw the potential in partnering with David to establish a chain of fast food restaurants. So he sold his own restaurant and invested in Insta-Burger King, and opened 3 more Insta-Burger King locations. Unfortunately, by the end of 1956, Insta-Burger King of Miami faced mounting debts and subpar food due to unreliable ovens. And then came the game changer. When James and David visited the original Burger King in Jacksonville, they stumbled upon a rundown burger stand that was selling burgers larger than what Insta-Burger King and McDonald's offered. James proposed the idea of creating a similar burger for their own stores. A 1/4-pound patty, flame-grilled inside a 5-inch bun, loaded with lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onions, and mayonnaise. He even came up with the perfect name for it, the Whopper, highlighting the burger's size. Despite drawing inspiration yet from another burger chain, James and David's execution set them apart. Charging 37 cents for their Whopper, a daring move compared to McDonald's 15-cent burger. However, the risk paid off immensely. The switch from the faulty Insta-Broiler to flame grilling their burgers became an instant hit, and customers flocked to Burger King for its unique flavor and char-broiled goodness. With the newfound success of their Whopper, Edgerton and McLemore recognized the need for a rebranding that would reflect their signature product. In 1957, Insta-Burger King underwent a transformation and emerged as Burger King, proudly declaring itself the home of the Whopper. This strategic move allowed the company to establish its identity and differentiate itself from competitors in the increasingly crowded fast food market. The growing interest in opening franchises in other parts of the nation became evident. However, James and David were only authorized to sell outlets within their agreed-upon South Florida territory. But in the same year, Keith and Matthew defaulted on their loans, causing their Jacksonville location to go out of business, and Ben Steen, the loan provider, taking control of Burger King. Luckily, Ben wanted nothing to do with the business, proposing full control to David and James, while Ben received 15% of their earnings. With the rebranding complete, Burger King set its sights on rapid expansion through franchising. This approach proved to be a game changer, allowing the company to penetrate new markets and reach a broader customer base. Burger King's franchise model attracted entrepreneurs from all corners, resulting in a surge of new locations across the United States. By 1962, Burger King had made significant strides in expanding its presence across the United States. With more stores opening and growing customer base, it seemed like the fast food giant was on its way to rivaling McDonald's. However, the reality was quite different. Despite its progress, Burger King still lagged behind McDonald's, which had already established a dominant position in the fast food industry. McDonald's had gone public in 1965, allowing for accelerated growth and increased market share. Meanwhile, Burger King struggled to keep up, facing challenges in financing its expansion efforts. In an attempt to fuel further growth, Burger King struck a deal with Pillsbury, a major food conglomerate, in 1967. Pillsbury investment provided much-needed capital and resources, raising hopes for Burger King's future success. However, the partnership came with a trade-off. Pillsbury took full control of the decision-making process within Burger King, stifling the company's autonomy. As Pillsbury tightened its grip, Burger King's ability to make independent decisions and pursue its own growth strategies became limited. The company remained privately held, unable to access the benefits of going public like its competitor McDonald's. This disparity further widened the gap between the two fast food giants. Amidst this growing frustration, David Edgerton, one of the original founders of Burger King, made the difficult decision to resign from the company in 1970. Edgerton's departure marked a significant blow to Burger King, as he had played a crucial role in shaping the brand and its early successes. In the following years, Burger King faced a period of slow expansion and growth, while McDonald's continued to dominate the fast food landscape. Burger King struggled to keep pace. The company faced challenges in maintaining a consistent brand image and failed to capture the same market share as its competitors. As the 1970s closed, Burger King trailed behind McDonald's regarding market presence, profitability, and overall brand recognition. The once promising fast food empire had lost momentum and struggled to find footing in an increasingly competitive industry. And that was not a complete failure. Some shocking controversies were also waiting right there to add to the chaos and the company's frustration. But before we dive into those intriguing controversies, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. One of Burger King's most iconic slogans, "Have it your way," was meant to convey the brand's commitment to customization and customer satisfaction. However, this approach backfired in the 1980s with the ill-fated marketing campaign known as "Where is Herb?" The campaign centered around a fictional character named Herb, who had never eaten at Burger King. The idea was to create curiosity and draw attention to the brand, but it failed to resonate with consumers and was widely regarded as a flop. In recent years, Burger King was embroiled in the infamous horse meat scandal. In 2013, it was revealed that some of the company's European suppliers had been providing beef products that contained horse meat, a revelation that shocked and disgusted consumers. The scandal significantly affected Burger King's reputation, highlighting issues with its supply chain management and quality control processes. Another controversy that stirred up a firestorm of criticism was a tweet posted by Burger King UK in 2021 on International Women's Day. The tweet, "Women belong in the kitchen," was intended to highlight the gender disparity in the culinary industry and announce a scholarship program for female employees. However, the tweet was taken out of context and widely condemned as sexist, resulting in widespread backlash and damage to the brand's image. Burger King also found itself entangled in the net neutrality debate and its ill-conceived Whopper neutrality campaign. In an attempt to raise awareness about net neutrality regulations, Burger King released a commercial where consumers or customers who paid more received their Whoppers faster than those who paid standard prices. While the campaign aimed to highlight the importance of a free and open internet, it was met with mixed reactions and accusations of insensitivity towards a complex issue. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, and as a jab at their chief competitor McDonald's, Burger King introduced Real Meals, a parody of Happy Meals. Real Meals normalized people's experiences of negative emotions. Some customers felt the company was exploiting serious mental health difficulties. Social media users were outraged when they saw that Burger King had compared the Yas meal to a disease that kills thousands of people yearly. One comment asked, "How TF a blue meal gonna stop someone from killing themselves?" A second person wondered, "Can I stop seeing my therapist and just eat a bunch of hamburgers?" Others only questioned whether or not Burger King was keeping the money for itself or donating it to a good cause. Not all components were critical though. many people appreciated that Burger King brought attention to such an important issue. Burger King's foray into plant-based alternatives with the Impossible Burger's introduction was met with excitement and skepticism. While the move was applauded by many as a step towards more sustainable and ethical options, critics raised concerns about the nutritional value and potential environmental impact of these alternative products. In addition to controversies, complaints about food preparation, cleanliness, and overall customer experience also started to surface occasionally, leading to concerns about the brand's standards and commitment to delivering a consistently satisfying dining experience. Since Pillsbury's acquisition, the ownership of Burger King has changed hands multiple times, with investment firms pushing for accelerated expansion. Notably, TPG Capital acquired Burger King in 2002, taking the company public in 2006 and generating record revenue of $425 million. Burger King achieved its highest ever revenue of $2.54 billion in 2009, with over 12,000 global outlets. Subsequently, 3G Capital purchased a stake and merged Burger King with Tim Hortons, forming Restaurant Brands International, the current parent organization. However, despite Burger King's impressive revenue and expansion, the subsequent years would prove challenging for the fast food giant. The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 profoundly impacted the fast food industry, and Burger King was no exception. The company encountered financial difficulties as lockdown and restrictions disrupted operations and significantly reduced customer footfall. The closure of dining areas and reliance on delivery and takeout services presented unforeseen challenges for Burger King and its franchisees. One area where Burger King faced setbacks was in the digital platform, as the pandemic accelerated the shift towards online ordering and delivery. Burger King struggled to keep pace with its competitors. Its digital infrastructure and online ordering system were not as robust or user-friendly as those of rival fast food chains, resulting in missed opportunities to capitalize on the growing demand for digital convenience. The financial strain caused by the pandemic forced Burger King to make difficult decisions. The company experienced a decline in revenue and profitability, leading to the closure of approximately 400 stores by the end of 2023, and the termination of contracts with some of the largest franchises. Notable franchises such as Tom's King, iKing, and Meridian Restaurants faced their own financial challenges and had to shutter their Burger King locations due to bankruptcy. A total of 124 Burger Kings have closed so far this year, dropping the total number of locations in the United States to under 7,000, as stated in a press release issued by Restaurant Brands International reporting the earnings. These closures further underscored the impact of the pandemic on the industry as a whole. Burger King also faced declining foot traffic as consumers became more price-conscious and sought value options amidst economic uncertainty and rising prices. Moreover, Burger King struggled to compete with fast food chains that had successfully cultivated positive branding and image. While its competitors invested in marketing campaigns that resonated with consumers and showcased their commitment to quality, Burger King faced criticism for its marketing missteps. The company's attempts at edgy and provocative advertising sometimes missed the mark, leading to negative public perception and a disconnect with its target audience. As Burger King confronted these challenges, it became evident that a comprehensive strategy to address its financial struggles and reposition its brand was necessary. The company needed to invest in digital innovation, revamp its marketing approach, and enhance its value position to regain its competitive edge in the fast food landscape. So do you believe Burger King has the potential to regain their former glory and compete with other fast food chains? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.